Hey, welcome to another episode of All Things with Jules and Bea. I hope you guys have been doing really well. I hope you guys have been handling Lionsgate really well. We're about to be hitting basically the climax of that in a few days, so I hope you guys have been handling it well. I know a lot of people have been kind of feeling a lot of different emotions. Like I know you've been seeing that too. Like some people are super heavy and other people are like, everything's great and I'm at peace
and
and
tired.
I'm amazing.
And they're tired and super tired.
Yeah, and then tired, but I hope you guys have been handling that really well. Today we're going to be talking about dreams and spaces within the dream world, and we have our very own dream expert here, Little Bea, and she will be opening up from here.
I'll be being.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I know last week we kind of like gave introductions, like who we are, and one of the big things I guess about me is like I'm obsessed with dreaming. All facets of it. Like I want to know all about it, and I've studied it. So one thing I want to preface when we're talking is when you are dreaming, you have three kinds of dreaming. So you have like a lower world, a middle world, and a higher world. And when you go to sleep, you have different states of sleep. And when you first go to bed, you're dreaming with how you process your middle world. So that's like ordinary reality. And then the more you get into your sleep cycle is when you will either bridge over to a lower world dream, which is primarily nightmares, but it also can be like your sexual desires, how you are handling your traumas, all that kind of stuff. And then if you're not going into a lower world dream, you can go into a higher world dream where that's like, I don't know, you can go into different worlds, different realms, like it can be very mythical or science. That too has like a secondary thing, like if you're really like into horror movies or you're really into like fairy movies or sci-fi, like that can also be like a higher world dream depending on what the dream is. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is how one day her and I were talking, and we obviously were watching TikTok videos, and I'm like, oh my god, this lady's talking about a mall. And I'm like, I dream about a mall all the time. And she's like, no, I dream about a mall too. So then we just started talking back and forth.
But the malls are like different. They're like attached to different things. Like I just...
Yeah, you tell, okay, so like... And I think about your dream as like a city or place that you're going to. This is like where you are internalizing. So it's like your inner world. That's what dreams are. This is where the subconscious becomes conscious. It's your innermost world, your feminine part, and then the dream is your masculine acting out. So you'll have like your own city. This also can get a little complicated, especially if you're dreaming like a past life dream and you're going to the same city that you lived in a past life, or maybe a future life. It just all depends. But what we have noticed is that we have a similar town. So my city has cobblestone streets, and there's a mall and a movie, and then attached to this mall is an airport, an amusement park, kind of like a school. It's my high school, so that part would be like my ordinary reality, but then there's like this aspect of like a college. And even though
I always have a college. Like I don't really have a high school, I always have a college that I go to.
And do you notice like when you're dreaming of the college, you do the same?
It's always a similar theme. For me, when I'm dreaming about the college, it's usually like I'm getting lost. Like I'm usually in the college and there's like seriously just so many stories to this college. Like there's just so many flights of stairs and I have to find all these classes. So I'm usually getting lost in there trying to find the classes, and then when I do finally get to the class, it's like already over and I have to go find the next class I'm going to. And then usually once the school is over and done with, I'm like trying to find my car, but my car is nowhere in the parking lot, and it ends up getting stolen or something. So I'm like walking around this big city, like going down these alleys looking for my car and be like, I know I parked it here, I know I parked it here, and then it's like nowhere. But that's always around, like when I'm dreaming about the college, it's always some lost sort of feeling that I'm like not really knowing what's going on, or I'm trying to find these classes and they should be so easy to find because everybody else is like super, oh, I'm going here, and they like, boop, or like right there, but I'm like, I don't know, and
when I'm
it's always a lost anxiety feeling.
Yeah, and I have some, not I'm lost, but it's always like I'm trying to get to my class, and then when I'm in my class, I'm like, I already learned this.
Oh, so you at least make it to the class. Like, I never
yeah, but,
really
or I
get
don't
to be
know
in
what
there.
my assignment is.
Oh.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last school dream I had, I was in a classroom that in my waking life, I knew was the health class. But in the dream, it was like some political sexual thing.
Oh, okay.
Like some weird thing like that.
Okay.
And like they had given me a new backpack. And then what inevitably happens is like I leave the class and I go down to, in real life, the school is attached to like this common area. It's got like a lot of windows, and you can like see out to the parking lot. And every time I go out into that parking lot, I never can find who's supposed to pick me up.
Okay, so like you can't find who's supposed to pick you up, but like I have that same thing. There's lots of windows. Like I can see into the parking lot because there's these weird. They're not even like regular windows in a school. It's like one big line of like windows, but it's like a huge just like bay window or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's what mine is.
And I'm just like looking out there, but I'm like looking down at, it's like I'm up high and I'm like looking down the parking lot. I'm like, oh, I know I parked out there, and then like I can't find anything, and then I'm like in the parking lot like losing my mind.
Yeah.
Or like half the time, sometimes I'll find my car, but I won't have my keys. And I'm like, oh my god, where did I put my keys?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like just straight
like
anxiety the whole time.
So that's one aspect. And then we started noticing that we have a mall. And I started dreaming about a mall a couple of years ago. But me being who I am, I think that this is me just trying to compartmentalize. But then after talking to Jules, I'm like, no, we're definitely going to like a similar place.
We've like seen it talked about
on
like
videos
online, like from multiple people like all over the world that also dream about a mall. Kiana even dreams about a mall at times. Like it's weird. Like, and they're all the same sort of vibe where like part of the mall is really lit up and nice, and then like another part of the mall is super like dim and dingy and dark, and like
exactly.
You know you're not supposed to be going down there, and it's like off. Like
some of the rooms one of the rooms in the mall that I go to is like a counseling room.
Oh.
But it's not really like counseling. It's like me just spewing out my whatever it is. And inevitably, I can't hear what I'm saying. I'm just looking at this woman who's supposed to be my counselor. And like, the room is filled with the most beautiful art, but all the art is red.
Oh, that's
like,
interesting.
Red poppy flowers, red vases. She's wearing like red lipstick. Like,
red is obviously like the big theme
in the room. And so I've started calling it like the red room.
Okay.
And then, but it's the same.
I don't have anything like that.
The same thing. Like the mall is dark. I think there was like a TikTok video where this. I think it was two separate creators were talking about how. Do you ever just go back to a mall that you went to, and like when you were a kid, and like it's all abandoned now?
Oh my god, there's actually a real one. I mean, I didn't go as a kid, but there's like, it's called I don't know. It's in. Like close to Bloomsburg. I forget what the little town is that's like close to Bloomsburg, but there's a mall, like Columbia Mall, I think is what it is, and it is the creepiest mall because it's so like run down. You go in there and there's only people in there are people that are like doing laps around the mall, and there's maybe some like, but it makes me think of like the Dream Mall because parts of it are lit up, but like other parts of it are so gross and like I don't know, it's creepy.
That's what the video made me think about. I'm like, I wonder subconsciously if the human collective is just like remembering a time, because I never started dreaming about a mall until like
I dreamt about one when I was like younger though too. Like, and Kiana's like super young and dreams about a mall.
Yeah, she is.
And she's never. I mean, she's been to like the mall here in town and stuff, but like it's not like we go there all the time where it's like impressionable on her. Where she's like, the mall. Yeah. So
yeah, it's not even like a cool mall. Like
no, it's like not anything. It's not anything special. But yeah. So mine too is like attached to a theme park, and like my mall has like that weird sort of like the big gates, like it divides the parking lots where there's the big gates and there's like razor things on top of the gates, so you can't really like climb over it. You have to like go around them.
Barbed wire.
Barbed wire, that's what it is. Yeah, it's like all above these like metal gates or whatever they're called. Fencing, that's a better word. Fences. The fences, those metal fences. And then you have to like walk around it, and you go into the theme park, and parts of the theme park are like fine, but then again, parts of the theme park are kind of off. Like there's like a fun house that parts of it I'm allowed to go into, and then other parts of it, there's like a guard there where they won't let me go deep in there, because there's like, I don't know, it almost felt like, there was one point in time where I dreamt about that fun house, and they let me go like pretty deep, and then there was this door where like you opened it, and there was a lot of colors in there, and it was really like, just strobing and flashing, and it was like really, really intense, and I like wanted to go in there, but a guy was like, you're not ready for this yet. You're not allowed to be in here yet. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, this seems like really intriguing. I want to know what's down there. And he's like, not yet. And I've never been there since, so
Did you, like,
it was like really intense, and it was like throbbing. Like it was just like,
I wonder if it's like a rave room or a rage room or like
I don't really know.
Like
what if it's my pineal gland or something? It's just like entering the pineal gland of my like brain. It's like, no, you're not. You're gonna be messing things up in there.
You need to decalcify, lady.
Yeah, probably.
That's what needs to happen. You need to eat some food that's helping you out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that. But do you also notice when you are working on something in your waking life, part of that, you'll either like get an addition to this city, primarily the mall, or like I noticed too, like my parking lots will change. And there's also a factory in my town.
Oh, okay.
That's attached to this mall.
Okay.
Like you go into the clothing store, which is like a complete front.
Yeah, I have a clothing store that's a little bit front too, but it doesn't go to a factory. It just goes back to like these empty rooms.
Oh.
To these weird empty rooms that are like gross again.
It's probably connected to my factory.
Maybe.
Because like
it makes me think of like the back rooms. Did you ever hear about the back rooms? Like that's what these rooms make me think of.
No, what is it?
I don't know, it's like this thing that was on YouTube, and they also make games out of it where basically it's back behind this building or whatever, but there are all these empty rooms that's like a big maze, and you like can't find your way out of it, and they're all like just really weird and like off feeling, and there's like
I saw
darkness
video
hiding in
on
there.
that
Oh,
on
did you?
TikTok. Like the guy just kept going through a door, through another door,
and then he was like
door.
lost in there, and he was like some weird shit, and that's what these rooms make me think of, because it's like empty but really bright, and like the walls are like this weird like greenish creamy color, and they're just like, it's like empty, and it's just like all emptiness, and I'm just like, I don't like that. I'm not gonna go
no,
there.
that's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for me.
No, but when I'm dreaming about the factories, like I go through this store, like this clothing store, and then I go back, and this is where it's always attached to Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
Elon Musk always runs this factory.
That's super weird.
It's always weird. And then I go through there, and then what always happens is like he has some guy chasing me through there, or like, and they all look the same. So I've just started calling them AI. And like I have to get out and go to a different section of the mall, but it's the factory. So like I have to work my way through this factory, and then find the other door that's connected to a different part of the mall to get out.
That's weird.
And I can never do it.
Yeah.
And it's always like I'm sitting at the lunch table, and one time I had to like watch Elon Musk's kid, and
So
then he was like telling me some weird stuff about going to like rocketing somewhere, but I don't remember where. And then my sister was in the one I live with, was in the air traffic control tower in the airport. And she was like way okay with all the Elon
weird
Musk.
people.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's probably some psychological bullshit.
And the fact that she's in the control tower.
Yeah, well.
To me.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Anyway, so that part's weird. And I wonder how many other people are like, what if secretly, or not so secretly, because I feel like when we have times like Lionsgate, that we're all just collectively hive dreaming.
I mean, we might be, especially if we're all going to like similar places and like experiencing similar things within the dream space, and like, I don't know, people all going to a mall is kind of weird.
You've never seen that show, the OA, right?
I love the OA. It's like my favorite freaking show, and I'm really
me too.
upset that they didn't like finish any of the seasons out. Like,
I wonder who
I'm
asked.
offended.
I'm wondering, did you sign the petition to get it back on?
I think I actually did,
waited.
because I was deeply offended. It's like my favorite show in the whole entire world.
In the beginning season, they have to go to that where they're
and then they time jump, and and they're all like,
That's what I think of.
That show. I love
That's what I think about. I'm like, I wonder if
Yeah.
we're just all like collectively dreaming. And that's why I say, like, we have our own consciousness. Like, this is our consciousness, but like these people over here have their own consciousness.
Exactly.
And like somehow they're cross pollinating. I don't know.
It's all connected anyway. We're all connected anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
all literally, so it would make sense that we could like be like a hive mind dreaming together. And I mean, it makes sense too, because there's also people already in my life that, I mean, I think you met the one girl. Like, I was in her dream, like, helping her heal and stuff. And, like, that's happened to me multiple times where people are like, you came to me in a dream and you were, like, really calming me down and healing me. And it's, like, in those nights that they're, like, telling me about this, like, the night before, like, I might have been sleeping, but I wake up and I'm exhausted. And I already knew I was, like, traveling a lot. Like, I don't remember anything, but I knew I was, like, traveling. When I wake up like that where I'm, like, drained, I'm like, oh, I must have been doing a lot, like, in the dream space last night. Because I know I slept fine. I didn't wake up at all throughout the night, but I'm, like, feeling I didn't sleep at all. And it's usually because I'm traveling. Or like we could talk about too how astral travel too, like how when you do that in dreams and stuff, like you're usually in a car driving with people, and that's like a literal thing. Like it's not just a normal type of dream. Like you're actually with those people doing real things, like
you're
in the
actually,
dream space.
And
you're in the astral, like solving things together, doing things together. Like
you're doing work in the astral. And two, I know that people are like, I dreamt this, and like they don't want to leave. I've watched dream videos where they're like, they get the question, do you want to stay or leave? I hope I never have one of those questions.
You'll just stay
in the astral, because I don't know. I think I would cause myself to have like severe panic.
Oh yeah.
Because I can't leave my kids.
Yeah.
So like I think I would have like a heart attack.
Yeah.
Just trying to answer the question.
Right.
I wonder if other people dream that too.
I have seen that before actually too. There was a lady that I was watching. It was like probably earlier in the year. There was a lady who, I might have even sent it to you. She was like dreaming a lot or something. She kept having this one type of dream, and she actually thought she like physically died because like they asked her like, do you want to just stay here?
Yes, you did.
Do you want to stay here? And she like really wanted to stay, but they're like, it's not your time yet. It's not time to do that yet. Like you can't. It was a test for her. She's like, I knew I was being tested, but like I really wanted to stay, like because she didn't like it here and stuff.
Yeah.
I think she did have kids and stuff too, but like she was really just kind of like, I'm over it here. And they asked her like, do you want to stay? And she's like, yes, just let me stay. And they're like, nope, sorry, you actually can't right now.
We want to know like how many. You did not pass the test. How many people who are listening have ever dreamt like they're with somebody, and then you wake up the next day and your friend's like, hey, I had this dream, blah 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 blah, and it's like you have two pieces of the puzzle, like you were doing.
Or like how many times that happens with me and you, like.
Yeah. So like the most recent one, I dreamt that I was going to the mall, and I had to help. I go in the mall. But then all of a sudden I see Jules in a car, and it was like I was remote viewing her from the top, so you could not see me. And I saw you like rummaging through your car for stuff. And then I'm like, hang on, I'll be right back. I gotta go into the mall where this guy was like, can you see me? And I'm like, well, yeah, I can see you. Of course I can see you. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. And so like he puts up this film projector. And he was sitting backwards, and he was like showing me this thing, and I'm like, wait, I gotta go see my friend who's out there. And then he showed me this, whatever was on the screen, which of course I can't remember because
it was obviously probably important.
And yeah,
it was the whole point of the dream for you.
And then he's like, remember? Oh yeah, that's what he said. He said, remember that you saw this or whatever, and like he's like, but you can't tell anybody, type thing. Like I can't let other people know or something like that. And then I'm like, well, I gotta go meet my friend. And then you were in the car, and everything was fine after that.
But like my part of the dream of that dream, it was me driving with like the kids, and I was like scrounging around looking for sunglasses the whole time, and that's what she was seeing basically, me like scrounging around looking for all that stuff. But she like wasn't with me in my dream at all. But the one I remember the most recently is like the one where we were like randomly at a job together, and then we went to go get coffee. We like left together to go get like coffees for everyone or something. And we went to this weird coffee shop that was also like a bar. It was like a bar / coffee shop. And there was again a guy there. There was like some weird guy there and stuff. And then
a helper.
Yeah. And then I ended up like, I forget, leaving. we got in the car and we like were driving because there was a guy that like randomly was telling you like, I don't like that girl, or like there was some like drama or whatever. I was like, I don't even know that person, like whatever. And then we got in the car and we drove down to this like little cul-de-sac area, and there was like all these weird houses. And that's another thing for me. I dream about like houses a lot. There's like a specific type of house I dream about all the time. And we went into that house. Well, I went into the house. She just kind of like stayed in the car and did some other stuff out there. But like in her part of the dream, like she was doing stuff out there. Like we were together. She had a similar dream where like we were going to get coffee. We were like at some work. And we went to go on a break or something. We were doing something, and then she was talking to some random guy like in this place, and I was already gone. Like I went up into a house, and in my dream, I literally went up into a house, and the way into the house was super weird. I had to go through this weird like hatch door type of thing that was like covered in insulation. But like when I started doing that, I started remembering like another dream that I had, and it was like the same house where it was like a maze type of house, and it was like a game where like there was an old lady in there, and I had to like basically not let this old lady see me as I like slunk, was like sneaking around her house. And she had like all these cats in cages, and it's usually birds in cages, and the birds would like squawk and like alert her, but it was a bunch of cats this time in cages. And I was like running around, and there was more than like just her in the house this time. There was like other weird people, and they were like sniffing me out, and I don't know, it was
and then
super
in the end,
odd.
From my point of view, everybody was fine, and in your dream
it was not. They like found me. Somebody found me, and this lady had the craziest, creepiest eyes I've ever seen in my life, and she was angry. Like she was so angry that I was in there, and I was like, I'm gonna wake up now.
She was ready to suck your soul out.
Something was about to happen. Like she had like, I don't know, she was creeping me out. Like her eyes were like as big as like her face pretty much. I was like, ugh. And they were like watery and like dark and weird. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
gross.
can't do that. Here's another question that I know a lot of people, they make videos about looking in a mirror. These are like super triggering for me when people are
like in dreams.
Yeah, don't look in a mirror because you won't be able to like get out. Don't ask the time.
That's another thing. Asking the time is like there's like a
this
whole isn't really
myth.
Dreaming, I guess, but it does kind of coincide with dreaming. There was like a long time ago on Reddit, there was like this like little subreddit that I used to read all these stories in, and it was called the Three Kings, and basically it was all of these different like rituals or something. And one of these like ritual type of things where it wasn't really a ritual, it was kind of just like a meditative thing. One person would lay down and like kind of get into like a meditative state, and the other person would kind of like walk them through this guided meditation. But basically it's like going into the doors of your mind.
Okay.
And like you would go in different doors in your mind and explore your subconscious basically, but there were certain doors you weren't allowed in. And if you went into a room that was filled with clocks, like you were not allowed in there, because obviously that's like your sense of time. Like you can't be messing with your sense of time. You weren't allowed to go in there. If there was like a red door, you weren't allowed to touch that one. Like there was like all these weird things, but like yeah, they always say like you're not supposed to be asking time, or even the dream people, you're not supposed to like ask them the date, or like if they know they're not real and stuff, and then they get angry about it.
Because tons of times I've asked what day is it, and I get like the day, or like somebody will say, don't forget today is this day.
Oh, okay.
Or like, and the thing with the mirrors is like they say don't look in a mirror. I've never looked in a mirror, but I've been able to like look in a reflective pond, and yes, my whole face is gross and distorted
in the pond.
But I'm not afraid of myself when I look at it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that's just inner me, how I feel about blah blah blah. Like even in my dreams, I'm like psychoanalyzing myself.
Yeah.
I hate it, but that I don't understand why they're like putting all this fear that you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that when you go to bed. If you're setting intentions before you go to bed,
I know, but
you're
most
not
people
gonna have.
aren't. Most people are not setting intentions.
They need to get with it.
I know.
But yeah, so we want to know like what are you dreaming about? Like tell us your craziest dream. Where do you go? Do you have like a whole city? Is your city like attached to an ocean or like a body of water? And also,
I don't know if they're attached, but I have dreamt a lot of, usually when I'm dreaming about the ocean and stuff, they're always like apocalyptic type of dreams though. And I'm like kind of like in a rundown sort of building that's close to the beach, but there's like some sort of something in the water that's like coming out of the water and like kind of terrorizing. It's kind of like a weird, I don't even know, like a monster that's like kind of fishy but not. It's like fish mixed with like reptile, and it's like huge, and it's just like dark, and it just is devouring people. Like it just wants to devour people, and it's hunting people. And if they're not dreams like that, then it's like huge tsunamis coming and like washing out. And there was one time there's a couple times I've had dreams like that, but everybody was getting into these like huge like glass orbs,
Oh, okay.
that you could like get into and fly away to like go to another planet. Like they were like these really amazing, like high tech sort of.
Higher world dream.
Yes, like yeah, it really did feel like that. And they're like, you have to get in here now, and like I could only bring some people because nobody really wanted to come with me, so I had to find the people like that were willing to come with me, and we had like only so many people could fit in these like glass things, and then
Can't save everybody.
it's like floated away, and then I don't know.
I dream about like the ocean, and there's always like this rundown restaurant, fish shanty,
Oh.
and every time I'm given food, it smells and looks disgusting. So I try to avoid that place and wake myself up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not eating your poison, gross. And when they're next to the ocean, there's this like building, but it's like way low. So if you saw it from far away, it would just look like rocks. Like, I don't know, like it was part of a natural environment, but when you got close to it, you could tell it was man-made structure, really low to the sand, and when you go through it, there's this tons and tons of sleeper people.
Oh.
Like, just piles of bodies just sleeping. Yeah, I know.
That makes me sick, kind of, to like visualize it.
It's gross. And then there's always like these high-tech machine, like boats, but they're kind of like helicopters or hovercrafters way off in the distance that are coming towards me.
Like that area, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're probably supposed to be like sleeping, and you're like,
But I'm not. It's so weird. So we want to know all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, seriously, if you guys like really would love, we would love for you guys to like interact with us and kind of like comment about your dreams, and if you've dreamt about a mall and what your mall is like, if it's attached to anything, if you've dreamt about like a theme park, college, school, you know, whatever. Like we just kind of want to hear what your dreams are like, and if it's like similar to ours or what we've been like researching and finding like in the internet world and stuff too.
You send us to where we need to go.
And then I don't know if you want to talk too about like past life dreams and how you can tell if they're like
real
past
quick,
life type of things. Yeah.
So this is something that we started talking about a couple of days ago, maybe. The way that I know that I'm in a past life dream is usually by the articles of clothing that I'm wearing. And some people don't dream in color. I know that's bizarre, but the color of your dream. So for me, I dream of sepia tones. So like everything in the dream will have that yellowish tone to it.
Like when it's a past life?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also I dream of the 1960s and like late 1960s, early 70s, and I'm always with the same black woman.
Okay. See, I feel like when it's very repetitive like that, that is like a huge indicator that it like is a past life memory. It's not really just like some random thing. If you're dreaming about the same thing with the same person and the same like play of events, like each time that you're having this dream, to me, that's how I always feel like, okay, this is probably a memory, this is a past life. Like, and you're feeling like when you wake up, you feel so connected to it. Like you feel like that happened and you are like emotional about it. Like I feel like those are big triggers or big like themes that play around past life memories coming up in like dream space for your like soul to kind of release in this lifetime and things like that.
What triggered me into getting a past, like it was like a it was my first self-induced past life reading, was a dream I had where I was a newspaper. I worked in a movie theater, but underneath the movie theater was an underground newspaper place, and I had to dress like a boy because women weren't allowed to write the news.
Wow.
And I had to wear like this old-fashioned cap. Do you know the ones like?
I'm already picturing it. It's like the little
newsies,
the
newsy caps, and like I had nice pants, like trousers, the whole thing, like, and flattened my chest out and everything. And then when I would come down there, all these people kept my silence that I was actually really a woman writing the news, like real news.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in and exposes me and says that people don't want to hear the real truth, blah, blah, and there's just like a whole scene of events after that. And that triggered me in, I woke up and this was when I was heavy into wanting to become a journalist.
Oh.
And like when I was in high school. And it stopped me from becoming one. Because I was so paranoid that I would not be able to write.
See, but that already to me is like a fear that you have based on that past life event. So it's like, maybe you were at some point maybe meant to be like a journalist. That could have been like one path that you've taken, but like you let that event from your past life really hold you back in that fear, and instead of like releasing it and going after that dream, you were just like, I'm not repeating that. But it really wouldn't be like a repeat of it this time.
No, yeah.
I mean, maybe people not wanting to hear about the truth, but like, or not listening to a woman like expressing things, but at least you wouldn't be like, I don't know,
That's when I was gonna go.
thrown into jail or like killed or whatever for like being a woman writing like truths.
That's facts. But also, you store past life memories in your body anyway.
You do, yeah.
When you're born,
Past life trauma and all.
you have that ability. So like,
And even family lineage, like past life traumas and stuff, like are stored within
Like
your body. It's
our
not just even yours. It's sometimes like that lineage.
so in your natural talents are in your dreams too. So like, that's another indicator of like a past life.
Yeah.
I lost what I was gonna say because I was thinking about that. How I went and did the past life regression.
Oh.
But that's one of them. And then when I did the second past life regression, I saw that girl that the one I have the repeating dream about. She was like a woman's activist, and we were part of a women's activist group. And that's something like I'm super passionate about in real life.
Yeah.
Like having equal rights for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
But another way too is when you wake up, it like affects you.
It does. Like you wake up and you're feeling, yeah, like that's what we were saying, like how you would kind of know too. Like you wake up and you're affected by it and you're like emotional about it and it feels personal. It doesn't just feel like, oh, that was like a weird dream. Like you're like, oh my God. Like, because it's something that your like soul is trying to overcome and like release, because you can't keep carrying that energy with you throughout lifetimes. Like it's not really relevant anymore and you need to let go of that trauma.
And do you
need to
feel
let go
like
of that
you're
pain.
drawn to that decade anyways?
For me, it's the Victorian era.
Oh.
Like I'm very drawn to that. I feel like I've had lots of dreams about it, and I did have a past life regression. It was either last year or the year before. I had a friend do it for me, and I went back to a Victorian era where I was like royalty. Like I was royalty, and my father was having this party for me where he was trying to like match me up with like a person, but I didn't want any of those people. Like I was already in love with somebody, but it was like a lesser type of person, a common person, a common folk. And I wasn't really allowed to like, I don't know, patronize or whatever with like those people. So I was like already not really wanting to be in it. And then me and my father got in like a big fight because I wasn't really like doing what I needed to do at the party. You know what I mean? I was like not really in that mood. So that was like a whole thing. And I've always dreamt about like being in the Victorian like sort of era and like having very fancy, like the wallpaper on the walls is just so like elegant, and my bed is just like, I don't know, like one of those huge beds with like the drapes and
oh my
like
God,
it's like seriously just like princess like
I love it
status. But like I really feel like in at least one of my past lives, like I was royalty or something, and I had money, and I was probably really shitty. I was probably just really shitty and was like, you know, I can't be messy with you, you know, like just shitty, like stupid person, and that's why in this lifetime.
No, stop it. One last question, and then I think we'll probably close this.
Okay.
But do you ever dream of like you're being chased, or like you can see yourself die?
Yeah, I have a past life. I kind of told you about one the other day. Like I have a past life. Well, I'm convinced it's a past life dream. I have, in my dream, I'm maybe like 4 or 5. I'm like super, super young. I'm a little girl, and my father is like not home, but he's coming home, and he's like looking for me, and I'm like running up these steps, and we live in this really like dirty kind of house, and I'm like running up the steps, and I'm hiding in this closet, and it's one of those old closets where it's like the slots are in the doors, like those white doors with like the slots, kind of like E.T. in that movie E.T. where you can like open up the slot and like peek through. It's like one of those doors, and I'm like hiding in there, and I'm like behind all the clothes, like just hiding, and I get this like cut scene basically of like his boots like stomping up the steps, but he's like kind of drunk. Like it seems like he's like sloshy and drunk, and he's just like stomping up these steps, and he's like coming looking for me, and he's like angry, and I'm hiding, and it's like every time he's about to find me, or he opens the closet and finds me, like I wake up right away. Like I'm not really allowed to see myself be murdered or anything, but I feel like that. I've had that dream on repeat since I was like super young. Like it used to be like really traumatic to me. I would wake up like bawling because it was like real. Like it was so real. Like I could feel everything. I could like hear him. I could like, I don't know, feel the clothes like touching me as he's like moving all the clothes out of the way, like to get me. Like yeah, it was like extremely like vivid, and I was like thinking it was always real, and it was like my worst. It was like the worst dream I always had, and I hated having that dream. I haven't had it for years. I think I've kind of like maybe resolved whatever that was, but like that was a very repetitive dream I used to have a lot. And it was in this weird white house that I dream about all the time. There's a weird Victorian style white house that I like dream about a lot too. But it's not like a rich type of house. It just has like the pillars and like a weird, like, sort of fancy-ish looking porch, but it's not like a rich type of house where you're like royalty or anything. It's just kind of maybe like what those plantation houses or something used to look like,
I got you, yeah.
But like it has like a, I don't know, like the big pillars that are kind of just like
when you said pillars,
Victorian, like.
I think about that place I dream about. That's one of those. It goes into a catacomb.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
gross.
But it's what do they call them? Mausoleums.
Yeah.
But they have those 4 pillars.
Yeah.
I dream about that a lot.
Ugh.
The other thing I do when I'm dreaming is I'm drowning.
I've had dreams about drowning too, but I don't die in them. I'm just kind of like under the water and like looking up. But I also had like I don't know if that's from like a past life or if that's just because when I was younger I almost drowned. Like I fell into a pond and I just like.
How old were you?
I don't even know, like maybe 4 or 5. Like I was super duper young.
We're twins.
And I like fell into this pond. It was like at winter time too. Like my parents were like fishing at this pond where it was like 2 ponds. There was a pond here and a pond here, but there was this thin slice of land that like went in between. I was just like young and like walking there and they like weren't with me and I just like fell into the water and I remember like just looking up through the water and I don't remember when they found me, but I was like, it was winter and I was freezing.
When I was 5, I saw these. We were at some family reunion. This is like in real life.
Yeah. That was a real life thing. That wasn't a dream.
And then like so all my cousins who I've never met in my life, but it was a family reunion. They're like all jumping in this pool. I don't know where my parents were, and I saw my uncle jump in. My uncle's only 7 years older than me, so I'm like, oh well, I can jump in too. And I jump into the deep end, and whilst I was jumping, having a flashback of drowning in some other place, and I started to panic.
Yeah.
And then somebody like touched me like that and said, hold your breath and just relax. And as soon as I started to relax, I could feel myself come up to the surface.
Yeah.
And then my uncle pulled me out of the pool, and then I was fine.
Yeah.
But like I have dreams of drowning in water, and when I did my last past life regression, that's how I killed myself.
Oh my god.
Like that's part of the past life regression is to like witness how you die.
Yeah.
And then like, make peace with that. I like tied my legs together with a piece of cement and I plunged off a bridge, suicide.
Wow.
And I kept all my secrets to myself.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I only had one past life regression and nothing death related came up for me. It was just kind of I think it was just showing me my shitty past life when I was like a piece of shit and like really judging people and like rude and
I think everybody should get past life regressions.
I think so too. It's actually really helpful like to see a different version.
And plus it helps you like work with your trauma because you can like conceptualize, oh well I kind of do this in this life too. Maybe I should work on myself.
Yeah, because that might mirror certain things, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to know. Tell us all your things. Tell us all the things.
We would love to know. Seriously, yeah. Don't be shy. Don't be like, oh, I want to talk to them, but I'm not going to reach out. Like, you can go on Spotify. There's like a space where you can actually comment now. Like, I don't know how it looks for you guys, but when I go into my like Spotify podcast sort of thing for this podcast, I'll be able to see if you guys are commenting on anything or leaving, different responses or whatever, like it pops up for us. So if you guys want to do that, or if you want to get on the socials, we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, we're about to make a TikTok page. I do have a YouTube page that I'll be uploading this video on. If you guys are listening just through the audio, we have a video going right now that we're going to have on a YouTube page. Hopefully when this episode is uploaded, if it doesn't take so long to edit and everything, it might be like a day or so after the episode, but we have that going. So if you don't want to do that on Spotify, you can totally comment on one of those things. Even on the YouTube video, you can be like, oh, like, this is what's going on. But we have lots of ways. No excuses to not interact, guys. No excuses.
We want a community.
Yeah, so we really want to build a community here. We want to talk to you guys. I don't want you guys just like listening to us and be like, oh, that's cool. But like, we want to build something here.
We want to know what's
We're trying to have something cool here, so we want you guys to interact.
Yeah, give us suggestions too, like what else I keep hitting the thing.
That's okay.
What you think would be interesting, because her and I are a plethora of knowledge.
Yeah, and it's all variety too. Yeah. It's not just one thing we're interested in. There's like 7,000 and they're all different. So
exactly.
Anything you guys bring up, I'm sure we can talk about.
Yeah, we weigh again.
Yeah. But we appreciate you guys for listening, and we will talk to you again here very soon. Okay?
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.